I'm here with my friend Kary Oberbrunner, and he is an author, speaker. You run conferences, you write more books, you do a little bit of everything.
That's true.
You did my book launch party.
That was fun.
And well, you're good at it, and so you do a little bit of everything, kind of consulting and. I don't know all your titles. I don't know how many titles.
Father,
you need
husband
on
as well, you know.
Is that on your card too?
That is.
So, but I want to talk to you a little bit today about one of your books called Day Job to Dream Job, and a little bit about your experience and what you've seen, which is kind of unique. And you start off, you talk about this concept, DJ, dream jobber. What is, for those who don't know, haven't read the book, what is a dream jobber?
Well, listen, 86% of the population today wishes they weren't at their job, which is pretty sad. It's very sad. And I'll tell you why it's sad. It's because there's a cost to that. Carl Jung, a Swiss psychologist, a few years ago, I read a quote by him where he, in all of his research, he said, what is the most damaging thing in the life of a child? And I thought it was alcoholism, abuse, abandonment. He said it was the unlived life of the parent. And so the unlived life of the parent. In other words, a kid who grows up and sees mom or dad or grandma or grandpa day in and day out not fully alive. And the damaging effects of a kid, because they're thinking, well, I got to go to school, I'm going to plan my future, but then they look at their caregiver as someone who's discouraged, defeated, or whatever. And so that truly is someone who's not a dream jobber. The 14% who are actually excited about their jobs, those are the people that I consider dream jobbers.
Or they just marked the wrong answer on the test.
That's right.
When you said that, the
unlived life.
Unlived life. I was thinking that it was because the parents were forcing their unlived life onto the child.
Right.
You didn't live.
And I think basically we learn by what is caught, and if the child sees mom or dad day in and day out, kick the proverbial dog when they come home, drink a six-pack just to veg out. Veg is short for vegetable. Be brain dead just so they can go back at it again. That's not a life worth living.
No, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting to me that many people are unhappy at their jobs.
It's true.
And why do they put up with it? And so there's a variety of things you can do in that situation. You chose one path, which was to exit stage left and leave your job. And it was in May of 2010, and you had a few children under the age of 5.
Right.
And you just decided, I don't need this job anymore. I'm out of here. And you came home, and your wife, did you bring defibrillator paddles so that you could shock her back?
Well, I have a wife who's amazing, but she's also someone who likes security. And I was a father of 3, very young. We had the home, we had the car, we had all these things that keep us in our day jobs because we have to fund the life that we chose. Well, she was, needless to say, surprised when I told her that. Not surprised that I wasn't fully alive at my day job, because she knew that.
Because 86%.
86%. And she saw me trying to create these side projects so I could feel alive. So she wasn't surprised about that, but her words were, well, what are you going to do? It wasn't like I was a veterinarian on the side. She just said, well, what are you going to do? And it became very a serious issue. Okay, I'm not going to fail, because I wasn't one of those people that said, well, I'll just try something. So I literally had to get clarity. That was the first step that I had to get.
Clarity. Okay, I'm going to jump all the way to clarity, because way back in your book, like in chapter 8, I think you're talking about clarity. So I'm going to jump ahead and talk a little bit about that. Talk about the importance of clarity. And once you have that clarity, how do you maintain it?
Yep. I believe that clarity doesn't happen in a room where you are sitting. Clarity comes with action, okay? So it frustrates me when people just say, well, I need clarity, I need clarity. Well, what have you done? Nothing. Well, it's not going to come to them. They need to act. Clarity comes with action. I say often that clarity attracts and confusion repels. All right? Clarity attracts. And you can just look at life. I mean, how did we get attracted to each other? It's because I'm very clear and you're very clear, and our mutual friend who's very clear said, you guys need to meet. We're scared of clarity because clarity
it's
has...
It's because you were a veterinarian on the side.
No. And I cared for your cat.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Clarity has rough edges, right? I mean, clarity is it's sharp. And people are scared to be clear because they'll either be rejected or accepted. And we kind of, as humans, we kind of want to play it safe. We kind of want to play in the middle a lot. But you look at anybody in history who is clear, and they basically had enemies. They had haters. They had people who said, you're so clear, I don't want that, and rejected them.
Which means they were clear in some way, I
right.
suppose, of what they didn't want.
Exactly.
Well, one of the principles in this book that I also love, as you have clarity, as you're going for your dream job, doing exactly what you want to do, is that the most successful people don't do it alone.
No.
And one of the principles I share in my book, and I'm passionate about that you share in this as well, is the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people. You say that every dream needs a team. I love that subtitle of the chapter. Talk a little bit about that. How do you find those people that are going to surround you, and what if you get it wrong?
Yeah. Well, in the book, I do talk about the Shawshank metaphor, and even the Shawshank Redemption movie, and we hold Andy Dufresne as this crazy, awesome guy who single-handedly left Shawshank. Look at his life. He had a team. He had Morgan Freeman, who got him the poster, got him the rock hammer. He had Brooks, who basically got him rope. The entire escape from his Shawshank happened because of a team. Just like in the book, if you want to be a dream jobber, you're not going to escape your day job just by yourself. You're going to put people around you. How I found my business partner is I basically cast a vision. I believe a clear vision attracts team members to you. Think about, we live in the Ohio State area, right? And for that 1 year that Ohio State didn't have a clear leader, they had a fill-in because of Jim Tressel leaving. They had a Luke Fickell guy who's a nice guy, but he didn't draw team members to him. Pretty soon their recruits were like, you better fix this thing or I'm not coming to your school. Then Urban Meyer came and he drew team members around. So whether you're in sports, whether you're at a job, it's you and your responsibility to cast a clear vision. Then I believe team members say, you know what, I want to be part of that. And as long as you esteem people and you value people and not use people, I believe people want to be part of something larger than themselves.
Absolutely true. You mentioned Shawshank, so I'm glad you did, because most of us have seen the movie. It's a great movie. And for those who haven't, it comes on at least 4 times a week on different channels at various parts of the night.
Cable at 2 a.m. Yeah.
Right. So you will see it whether or not you realize it. You will come across the Shawshank Redemption. But tell us a little bit more. There's a tie with this book and the movie.
I felt like I was in Shawshank at my day job, and I was probably watching cable late one night and had my little son or daughter, helping with the feeding or whatever. And I said while watching that movie, something about that movie I relate with, and I feel stuck, I feel trapped, and I feel like I need to break free. So what I did is I actually had a publishing contract around there for another book, and I said, I can't write that book. I'm not passionate about that. I got to write a book about how your day job is like Shawshank, and your dream job is like Zihuatanejo. And in the book, you go from prison to plan to payoff. And suddenly, Skip, as I'm beginning to write it, I start Googling, like, where is Shawshank? I have no idea. I thought it was out in Massachusetts. I realized as a transplant, it was 90 minutes from right here. And I said, I got to go up there and actually write part of the book in Andy's cell. My wife said I was crazy. I don't know anybody up in Shawshank prison, right? But I go up there and I cast the vision with the bookstore person named Felicia, and I say, Felicia, I'm here. I'd really like to be able to get into Andy's cell. And she said, you know what? Here's even the Wi-Fi password. You go and have access to whatever you want. And I literally wrote part of the book in Andy's cell.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. It was solitary confinement, but I had to write that there rather than in my hammock in the backyard, because you can't relate to someone who feels trapped while you're in your hammock, you know? I needed to get in a place where I felt like I could help the reader who felt trapped.
Well, it's so interesting because the irony of being in a day job and feeling like you're trapped, and then you're actually in your dream job and you voluntarily trapped yourself to share your story.
I never thought of it like that.
Very,
that
very
funny.
When I read it, I thought, this is very ironic.
Yes.
You're voluntarily kind of trapping yourself.
Exactly.
So it's very interesting. Well, I'm a believer, obviously, running a large company and having run large companies, that of that 86%, that you can also find, you don't have to go off and start your own thing.
No.
You may, that may
Right.
be your path. And I encourage even employees, sometimes they have that desire, and I encourage them to follow their dreams, whatever those dreams and wherever they take them. But you can also learn to have fulfillment, happiness, etc., right where you are.
Exactly.
What would you say to the person who is struggling and needs to find kind of that fulfillment and wants to stay in their day job?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I do is I say stop being the victim, because that's how I was becoming. Back when I was in my day job, unknowingly I was becoming a victim. And I borrow this from a metaphor that's out there, but a victim lies in bed. Blame, excuses, and denial. Blame, excuses, and denial. And that's what you don't want to become. Because when you are a victim, you say the world happens to me. And what you do is you create conditions that say, I feel like I have no choice, and we know prisoners have no choice. So I had a shift, and I would encourage anybody else to shift from victim to victor. Victor says, I happen to the world, and a victor is someone who puts their oar in the water and moves forward, and that stands for ownership, accountability, and responsibility. If you're going to make a change, even a change to be happy or joyful, you need to start taking ownership and accountability and responsibility for your life.
That is powerful. I really like that, because I also think that when you're in that victim mentality, in that bed, your future is so limited.
It is.
Because nobody's going to give more responsibility or promote somebody who's in that mentality. And yet they can't often get out of it. They're stuck there.
That's true.
So I think this is a great book, not just to help people start their dream jobs, maybe start their own business, but also if they're in that bed, if they're in that victim mentality in their job, to if they learn to change that, and what is it, oar, grab an oar, they'll find more responsibility coming their way. And it changes their current day job, may also be their dream job.
They'll probably attract that team that they need, because nobody who's a high performer wants to join a team that's led by a victim. They just don't.
So very true. And you don't want a victim mentality spreading. That is a bad virus to have in any organization. So thank you for sharing this, and your other books and your work and all the things that you do. I think that you inspire many people, and I'm glad to introduce our audience to Kary, so that they can get this and create their dream jobs wherever and whatever that may be.
Thanks for having me, Skip.
Thank you.